Hello students, we are continuing this chapter 5 Judiciary. In previous class you learned about the functions of judiciary, or we can say role of judiciary. Three functions I explain you: dispute resolution, judicial reviews, and upholding the law and enforcing fundamental right. Yes, along with that you also understand what is an independent judiciary. Today we are doing this, what is the structure of court in India. Actually, this is the very nice thing of this lesson or this book, that they have given all the important points in question form. So we only ask ourselves that what is the structure of court in India, or suppose if we see that previous one, what is an independent judiciary, or you can see this one, what is the role of the judiciary, right? So it will give us answer, it will give us the space to think that what we are understanding. So let us start this discussion. What is the structure of court in India? There are three different levels of court. Now you all are watching movies and serials, so you understand this thing, and you also very well know this thing. There are three different levels of the court in our country. There are several courts at the lower level, while there is only one at the apex level. Apex level means highest level. For our country, it is Supreme Court. The court that most people interact with are what are called subordinate court or district court. Suppose in Rajkot we have district court, or in any of the district they are having the subordinate courts. So they are called district court. They are called subordinate court. In other word, it is also called tehsil level, tehsil court also. These are usually at the district or tehsil level, or in towns, and they hear many kinds of cases. We can say lower courts also. Each state is divided into districts that are presided over by a district judge. It means decision will be taken by a district judge. Each state has a high court, which is the highest court of that state. Suppose after above the subordinate court, in each state there will be one high court. At the top is the Supreme Court, that is located in New Delhi. In previous lesson I explained you that picture was also given and description of that building was also given, and is presided over by the Chief Justice of India. Right, along with this description of lesson, I have attached one video also. So you will come to know that what is the structure of court. The decision made by the Supreme Court are binding on all over other courts in India. Means Supreme Court is the highest court, apex level court. So whatever decision will be taken by Supreme Court, bound by all the courts, binding all the courts. Right? So here they have just given this triangle, so you can write that Supreme Court level. Right? So at bottom it will come subordinate court, then High Court, and then Supreme Court. Here you can see the picture, High Court of Madras. High Court were first established in the three presidency cities of Calcutta, Bombay and Madras. Children, why they have given here? Because this court system, you remember in history chapter 1 you learn about the administrative setup. This court system what we are having at present, it was established by British. When Britishers were here, they were ruling. At that time they established this court system. No doubt after independence we made so many changes in the functioning of judiciary, but the basic idea, basic structure was given by British rule. So High courts were first established in the three presidency cities of Calcutta, Bombay and Madras in 1862. The High Court of Delhi came up in 1966. Currently there are 25 high courts. While many states have their own high courts, Punjab and Haryana share a common high court at Chandigarh, and four northeastern states of Assam, Nagaland, Mizoram and Arunachal Pradesh have a common high court. Right? In previously it was given that each state are having their own high court. But some states they do not have separate high court, but they are sharing. Suppose here they have given an example of Punjab and Haryana at Chandigarh, and these four states, Assam, Nagaland, Mizoram and Arunachal Pradesh, they are having common high court at Guwahati. Andhra Pradesh and Telangana have separated High Court from 1st Jan 2019 because Telangana separated before that only. Some High Courts have benches in other parts of the state for the greater accessibility. If state is very large, so some have their other benches also. High Court bench, it is called High Court bench. So in other part of that particular state also for great accessibility. Okay. So now, after understanding the types of court or structure of court, now there is a question. Are these different levels of court connected to each other? What do you say, children? Is there any connection amongst this court? Subordinate court, district court, Supreme Court, High Court? Yes, they are. In India, we have an integrated judicial system. Integrated judicial system, meaning that the decision made by higher courts are binding on the lower court. Another way to understand this integration is through the appellate system that exists in India. Right? Keep in mind appellate system or integrated judiciary. This means that a person can appeal. Appeal means here, that's why it is the word appellate. This means that what is the meaning of appellate system? It is given here. If a person can appeal to High Court if they believe that the judgment passed by the lower court is not just. Means a person is not content with the decision by lower court or subordinate court, he can approach to the higher court. Right? Let us understand what we mean by the appellate system by taking a case, state, Delhi administration versus Lakshman Kumar and others. They have given very nice case study. It is a real case of Lakshman and that Delhi state, from the lower court to the Supreme Court, how decision was given and whether the person was contented or not. In February, now you can see, you please keep watch on dateline also. In February 1980, Lakshman Kumar married 20 years old Sudha Goyal and they lived in a flat in Delhi with Lakshman's brother and their family. On 2nd December 1980, Sudha died in hospital due to burns. Her family filed a case in court. When this case was heard in the trial court, subordinate court, see this is, there are so many names, I told you, no? There are 4-5 names for the lower court. So please keep in mind. So when this case was heard in the trial court, 4 of her neighbors were called in as witnesses. Now witnesses, you know, that those who have seen that crime or that incident, they can give their witness in the court. So 4 neighbors were called in as a witness. They stated that on the night of December 1, they had heard Sudha scream and had forced their way into Lakshman's flat. There they saw Sudha standing with her sari in flames. They extinguished the fire by wrapping Sudha in a gunny bag and a blanket. Sudha told them that her mother-in-law, Shakuntala, had poured kerosene oil on her and that her husband Lakshman had lit the fire. Right? When neighbors saw the incident, all of a sudden, then they wrapped her in a gunny bag and blanket, and at that time Sudha could told them that who did this. During the trial, members of Sudha's family and neighbors stated that Sudha had been subjected to torture by her in-laws and that they were demanding more cash. You know, dowry system in our country, poor families, they cannot afford to give all this to the family, right? So they are doing this type of things. So they were demanding more cash, a scooter and a fridge on the birth of first child. As a part of their defense, Lakshman and his mother stated that Sudha's sari had accidentally caught fire while she was heating milk. No doubt these family members will be speaking something on their favor. On the basis of this and other evidence, the trial court convicted Lakshman, his mother Shakuntala and his brother-in-law Subhash Chandra and sentenced all 3 of them to death. So this was the decision given by trial court. All of them they found guilty and given the sentence all them to death. Now see, in November 1983, the three accused went to the High Court to appeal. Appeal means asking for the another judgment. Meaning is given in that glossary. Against this verdict of the trial court, because they were not contented, so they wanted another hearing, so they go to high court. The High Court, after hearing the arguments of all the lawyers, decided that Sudha had died due to an accidental fire caused by the kerosene stove. Then they successfully produced some proofs that Sudha had accidentally fire caused by kerosene. Lakshman, Shakuntala and Subhash Chandra were acquitted. Acquitted means release. Now, you may remember the photo essay on the women's movement in your class 7 book. Right? You remember 4 types of women movement method and meanings and all were given. You read about how in 1980s women group across the country spoke out against the dowry death. They protested against the failure of court to bring these cases to justice. Means in that women's movement, they were asking for the justice for the dowry death. The above High Court judgment deeply troubled women and they held demonstrations. So NGOs and women related groups, they did not like the decision given by High Court. They demonstrated and filed a separate appeal against this High Court decision in the Supreme Court. So actually now Sudha at that time when this High Court verdict came, verdict means judgment or decision came. At that time Sudha was no more and her family members were also not in condition to ask for the justice. But this type of NGO, third party, they appeal for justice for Sudha. And they put a petition in the High Court. In 1985, the Supreme Court heard this appeal against the acquittal of Lakshman and the 2 members of his family. The Supreme Court heard the arguments of the lawyers and reached a decision that was different from that of the High Court. They found Lakshman and his mother guilty, but acquitted the brother-in-law Subhash because they did not have enough evidence against him. Right now, after a long hearing in Supreme Court, and because of this NGO's interference, they could successfully give some proof against Lakshman and mother Shakuntala, but they could not produce any kind of evidence. They could not found any evidence against Subhash. The Supreme Court decided to send the accused to prison for life, and then life imprisonment given to Lakshman and Shakuntala. So hope this case you understand. Through this case, they try to explain you integrated judiciary system. Court depends. Lower court, right? If you are not happy, you are not content with the decision given by trial court, you can go to High Court. After High Court also you can go to Supreme Court. But once you go to Supreme Court, then whatever the decisions binding to you. Right? And it is not that you can directly go to Supreme Court. Once you go to Higher Court, then you cannot appeal in the lower court. Lower court to Higher Court always appeal can be done. Here, as I was telling that the subordinate courts is more commonly known by many different names. This include the trial court or the court of the district judge, the additional session judge, the chief judicial magistrate, metropolitan magistrate, civil judge. So the person who is giving the judgment and even the trial court, they are called by different common name. Here you can see the picture of district court complex in Namchi, South Sikkim. Okay student. So hope this point you make it clear. Now the next topic is what are the different branches of the legal system. As I told you that no doubt legal system is there, laws are there, but for making it understand and clear, they have divided all the legal laws into civil law and criminal law. The above case of the dowry death falls within what is considered a crime against society and is a violation of the criminal law. In addition to criminal law, the legal system also deals with civil law cases. You read in chapter 4 of how a new civil law was passed in 2006 to protect women against the domestic violence. Look at the following table to understand some of the significant differences between the criminal law and civil law. Right? So there are varieties of the laws, but particular laws, particular crime, particular things are comes in a criminal law and particular come in civil law. So let us understand what are they. They are given 3 points. Now criminal law first. Deals with conduct or act that the law defines as an offense. According to law, it's considered as an offense. For example, theft, harassing a woman to bring more dowry, or murder. Means cases related to theft, murder, harassment of women comes in a criminal law. Here, civil law deals with any harm or injury to right of individuals. For example, disputes relating to sale of land, purchase of goods, rent matters, divorce cases. So this type of cases which are violation of fundamental rights, so that comes in civil law. Second point, it usually begins with the lodging of an first information report, FIR. Keep in mind, next chapter also it will come. What is FIR? You must have heard also. First information report with the police who investigate the crime, after which a case is filed in the court. Right? So for any type of criminal law related incident, FIR is must. After that, police will start investigation. Here in civil law cases, a petition has to be filed before the relevant court by the affected party only, because here it is the most of the cases related to the violation of fundamental right. So affected party, affected person will file a petition. Suppose in a rent matter, either the landlord or a tenant can file a case. Now the third, what type of punishment? Right, third point. If found guilty, the accused can be sent to jail and also fined. Right, in most of the cases that death sentence is not given. Right, in most of the cases. But life imprisonment, long time jail and fine given in the criminal cases. Here in civil cases, the court gives a specific relief asked for. For instance, in case between the landlord and tenant, the court can order that flat to be vacated or pending rent to be paid. Means in this type of civil cases, what type of punishment court will give? For that fundamental right can be fulfilled. Suppose in landlord and tenant dispute case, they can give, court can give, depends on the hearing, vacate the flat or can ask for the giving that pending rent. This. Here they have given exercise, right, that you have to do by yourself after understanding this paragraph nicely. So, okay children, hope you understand this. Legal branches and integrated judiciary and structure of court. These 3 topics we have covered. Now, very important topic is left that we will do in next lesson. Does everyone have access to the court? Right? It is a very detailed topic and related to justice delayed, justice denied. So, we will discuss this topic in next lesson. Till that time, keep learning, and if you have any doubt, you can ask me in any time. Along with this, I have given video also. Please watch that carefully. So you will be getting proper points of this chapter. Okay students, goodbye.